Revenge with Karen.
My hands were still trembling when I signed the onboarding forms, half from the fluorescent buzz of corporate hope, half from muscle memory of 2 years spent flinching every time someone said my name wrong in a meeting on purpose. I was 3 coffees deep, nauseous from smiling too much, and still adjusting to the alien sensation of being treated like a competent adult. The last place, it nearly broke me. 2 years of slow gaslight rot, served daily by Melissa, the human embodiment of a humble brag, armed with a passive-aggressive smirk and a bottomless pit of charm for management. Every idea I ever voiced was just like the one Melissa already suggested. Every compliment I got was met with her fake clueless confusion. Oh, didn't she miss the deadline on that? Like I was the office dog who kept peeing on the carpet and needed to be put down quietly. So when I landed this new role, different building, different city, entirely different org chart, I genuinely believed I'd crawled out of the grave she buried me in. HR gave me a laptop with my name spelled right. My new manager introduced herself without sniffing for weakness. Nobody pulled me aside to warn me that Melissa's just sensitive. Try not to set her off. For the first time in years, I exhaled without tasting blood. On my third day, I bought a potted plant for my desk, like a fool who believed in new beginnings. Even gave it a name, Hope. Big mistake. And hey, since you've already made it this far into the story, and 95% of you are out here binge listening without subscribing, maybe now's a good time to hit that subscribe button and give it a like. It really keeps our team caffeinated and mildly sane enough to keep telling you how to survive HR hell with dignity intact. Thanks, legend. Anyway, I was in the break room, pouring myself a cup of optimism-flavored Keurig sludge, when someone from HR popped their head in. Hey Jennifer, can you join us in conference room B? We're finishing up new hire intros. Last group just arrived. I walked in, sipping lukewarm coffee, already composing the fake friendly smile I'd deploy for the third time that day. 7 new faces stood by the whiteboard, holding folders and looking like deer in onboarding headlights. Then I saw her, Melissa, hair blown out like she had a stylist in her glove box, teeth gleaming with weaponized sincerity, eyes zeroing in on me like a hawk circling a wounded squirrel. She turned to the group and chirped, so excited to be joining the team, especially since I already know someone here. And then, looking directly at me, same snake oil smile she wore when she stole my last promotion, she added, Jennifer, isn't this wild? Small world, huh? I felt my stomach drop like an elevator cable had snapped. Oh, you two know each other? Our manager asked, genuinely delighted. Melissa let out a soft, wistful laugh, like we were sorority sisters reuniting after a decade apart. Yeah, she said, we go way back, worked together for a couple years. So glad we get to be teammates again. Teammates, like I was ever on her team. My mouth moved, but my brain didn't. Managed a nod and some noise that sounded like agreement. And then I sat down in the only empty chair, which happened to be right next to her. She leaned over, breath smelling like peppermint and destruction, and whispered, you didn't think you could get rid of me that easy, did you? By the end of Melissa's first week, the temperature in the office had dropped 15 degrees, at least for me. On Monday, she made a big show of complimenting my outfit in front of the team. Tuesday, she asked if I was okay during the meeting, her voice dripping with the kind of concern people reserve for unstable relatives and raccoons in the attic. By Thursday, she was accidentally repeating my talking points in client calls like they were her own. I was thinking, she'd start, eyes flicking toward me, maybe we use a staggered rollout. You mean the staggered rollout I emailed the team about 4 hours ago? The one you said was a little aggressive. Just like last time, I watched her spin her web with terrifying ease. She didn't confront. She didn't insult. She didn't shout. No, Melissa weaponized subtext. If you confronted her, you'd look like a lunatic unraveling over nothing. She'd just blink innocently and ask if you were feeling stressed. You've been a little tense lately, Jen. It was déjà vu, but worse. This time, I had no excuse for not seeing it coming. She cornered me in the kitchen on Friday to ask for advice. I knew what was coming. I've been feeling a little limited, she said, massaging her lower back in performative pain. Old injury, nothing serious, just some nerve stuff. I think I'm going to file for accommodation, though. Just need to avoid physical tasks, carrying stuff, standing for long periods, you know. I said nothing. Because last time, I said too much and I paid for it. This time, I nodded like a bobblehead on Xanax. Monday morning, HR announced Melissa would be exempt from field activities due to a chronic back condition. She wouldn't be required to help with setup, travel, or or assist with events that involved extended physical presence. The rest of us, meanwhile, were lugging banners, folding tables, and demo equipment across town for a Thursday trade show. "You're young and capable," our team lead said when I asked why I was being sent out solo. "Melissa's going through a flare-up." Flare-up. The woman does pilates in her lunch break and walks in heels like she's trying to reclaim land for the crown. But now she couldn't stand for more than 10 minutes. By week 3, my voice had developed a tremor again. I started triple-checking my emails, reading every Slack message with one eye closed. People around me smiled, nodded, quietly began rerouting questions to Melissa, because she had answers, and I just had vibes and suspicion. When I pitched a revised client workflow, she piggybacked on it in the meeting and somehow walked away with the credit. When I raised it with our manager, he winced. "Look, I get it, but she's new. Maybe give her some time to adjust." Adjust to what? Destroying my reputation one insinuation at a time. What really cracked something open was lunch in the parking lot. I was eating cold pasta on the hood of my car when someone from data analytics sat down beside me. I barely knew her, quiet, usually worked remote, but she looked a little too interested in my Tupperware. "Is it true you and Melissa worked together before?" I stiffened. "Yeah," she hesitated. "Weird, she said you two were close. Like you vouched for her or something." I almost choked. "Wait, what?" She blinked. "Yeah," that she heard about this opening from someone at her last job. Said they talked to you and you spoke highly of the team. My skin went cold. I never told her where I worked. Never. That's when it hit me. She saw my LinkedIn update. That's how she knew. She'd waited, watched, and applied behind the scenes, used her old buddy in HR from our last company as a reference, and aimed herself like a missile into my new life. And now she was back. Back in my meetings. Back in my head. Back with a doctor's note and a halo strapped on so tight HR couldn't see the horns. I thought I'd escaped her. But Melissa didn't follow me. She hunted me. The silence was louder than any insult. It wasn't sudden, more like a slow deflation. One day I was looped in on every email, invited to every client call. My Slack lit up like a Christmas tree. The next, nothing. Tasks I'd normally handle got rerouted just to ease your bandwidth. Feedback dried up. Meetings started without me. I'd log into Zoom and see faces already halfway through a brainstorm Melissa had accidentally forgotten to include me in. She didn't have to say anything. That was the genius of it. She just tilted the board and let the pieces fall. And when I finally asked my manager, cautiously, privately, choosing every word like I was navigating a minefield, why I seemed to be getting sidelined, he blinked in genuine confusion. "I'm surprised to hear that," he said, leaning back in his chair. "Melissa's been nothing but professional. She even said she was worried you might be upset with her. Is there some tension?" That word, tension, landed in my gut like a wrecking ball. I'd been here before. Melissa wasn't just undermining me in meetings. She was planting seeds. Quiet, insidious ones. Framing herself as the peacekeeper. The sensitive soul. The team player who, gosh darn it, just couldn't understand why Jennifer seemed so off, so distant, so hard to collaborate with. She hadn't just taken my job. She was taking my story. And it was working. Worse yet, she was now working from home most days under the guise of managing her pain. Apparently, her doctor recommended avoiding long commutes, sitting in chairs without lumbar support, and environmental stressors like fluorescent lighting. Meanwhile, rest of us were hunching over fold-out tables in freezing conference rooms like middle managers in a hostage film. At the all-hands meeting, Melissa dialed in from her sunlit living room. Hair curled, lip glossed, cozy in a cardigan and smug as a cat in a sunbeam. "Sorry I can't be there in person," she said, pouting. "Just managing a flare-up, but I'm with you all in spirit." I nearly bit through my tongue. The cherry on top, she started offering to cover for me, volunteering to help lighten Jennifer's load. On paper, it looked generous. On Slack, it was praiseworthy. But in reality, it meant she was in control of everything. By week 6, I had stopped speaking up in meetings. Every word felt like a trap. I'd become cautious, hesitant, watching my back instead of the agenda. And that's when people start to doubt you. When you look tired, distracted, paranoid, which I was. And I hated that she made me that way again. First flicker of defiance came on a Tuesday. I was microwaving leftovers, staring at a container of bland chicken like it owed me money, when Ben from compliance strolled in. "You still working with Melissa?" he asked casually. I gave a weak nod. "Every damn day." He raised an eyebrow. "Funny. Saw her Saturday night at Sharky's. Looked like she was having the time of her life." I blinked. What do you mean? She was at the pool tables for like 2 hours, standing the whole time. Wore heels too, not limping, not sitting, nothing. Just, dominating drunk tech bros and calling every shot before she made it. My stomach did a somersault. She told HR she can't stand longer than 10 minutes, I said, more to myself than to him. Ben shrugged. Guess those 10 minutes reset every round. He laughed and walked out. I stood frozen, chicken forgotten, brain short-circuiting. There it was. Proof. Maybe not courtroom proof, but something. A hairline crack in the facade. For the first time in weeks, I didn't feel helpless. I felt angry, and beneath that, something worse for her. I felt curious. I stopped hoping she'd hang herself with her own lies. I started tying the knot myself. Melissa thought she was playing chess. I was done playing checkers. No more venting into the void or trying to out-nice her in front of management. It had been my rookie mistake the first time around, thinking if I just kept my head down and did good work, Justice would eventually notice me. Justice doesn't have eyes in corporate, but HR has folders, so I started one. It began with screenshots, notebooks, email threads where my name mysteriously vanished from credit, Slack pings she left unread for days, only to respond to the team later as if the idea had just occurred to her. I timestamped everything, logged every task she claimed she couldn't do due to her condition. I pulled old agendas and mapped which meetings she skipped and which ones she magically had energy for when a VP was present. Then I reached out to Ben. Subtle, casual, like I wasn't itching to smash my keyboard every time she said the word accommodation. You mentioned Sharkies the other day, I messaged, keeping it light. Was that a birthday thing? Ben replied within minutes. Yeah, Ashley's 30th. Lissa showed up around 9. Stayed past midnight. I felt my pulse in my teeth. Out of curiosity, I typed, trying to soundboard any pics. 3 minutes later, my inbox exploded. There she was, Melissa in boots, hair done, red lipstick blazing, leaning over pool tables, cue in hand, standing upright, laughing her botoxed ass off in every single shot. Someone had taken a short video too. In it, she's salsa dancing with a guy in a novelty birthday sash, swinging her hips, arms overhead, not a wobble in sight. Timestamp, Friday night, 11:42 p.m. She'd called out Monday, severe flare-up, still recovering. I stared at the screen until the video looped. I watched her spin. Smile, twirl. The same legs that couldn't survive 10 minutes of standing in our conference room were out here doing the cha-cha slide like a drunk bridesmaid at a destination wedding. And the kicker, that morning, Lissa had submitted a renewed accommodation form to HR, claimed her condition had worsened, requested indefinite exemption from all site visits and off-site client engagement, attached a fresh note from her specialist. Same doctor as last time, same language. The whole thing read like a copy-paste job with one paragraph swapped out. I stared at her form, then back at the video, then back at the form. That's when I remembered something from months ago, an offhand comment from Camille in HR, the one with the "I'm too old for this shit" mug, and the office full of succulents. She'd muttered it after Melissa's first request was approved. Another damn doctor's note. At this point, I don't know who's lying and who's just bad at word templates, so I reached out. Nothing formal, just a walk-by, neutral tone, soft voice. Hey Camille, quick question. We ever had someone request exemption from field duties twice in their first month? She looked up, narrowed her eyes, then swiveled to her screen. Nope, she said, scrolling. Melissa's the only one this quarter. Why? I shrugged, just curious. She studied me. Jennifer, off the record, are you seeing something? I paused. Off the record, I said I might be. She sat back in her chair. Good, because honestly, I've been itching to poke a few holes in that halo. And just like that, I wasn't alone anymore. We didn't make a big move, not yet. Camille knew how to play this game. She told me to keep collecting. Dates, screenshots, discrepancies between her claims and her behavior. They won't act unless it's airtight, she warned. Especially with disability stuff. One false move and legal throws a tantrum, so I got meticulous. I documented every time Melissa was too ill to show up in person, posted a selfie later from a rooftop bar, or posted Yelp reviews timestamped during work hours. I logged them all, added them to my folder, color-coded. By the end of the week, the rage had stopped eating me alive, because now it was fueling something better, something stronger. I wasn't surviving Melissa this time. I was building her gallows. Camille called it our slow cooker. No sudden flames, no alarms, just steady pressure. Lid on. Heat rising. She told me the review was officially open. She didn't say it with drama, She said it like she was confirming a lunch order. "We've got eyes on her accommodations now," she murmured, flipping a folder shut. "But it has to be rock solid. Any doubt, and legal will default to inaction. So, keep the timeline coming." I did more than that. I gave Camille a spreadsheet so detailed it looked like I was tracking a moon landing. Column A, the date Melissa filed each accommodation. Column B, her stated symptoms. Column C, any corresponding leave. Column D, her social media activity that contradicted it. Column E, witness accounts what coworkers saw said screenshotted. Friday, can't walk without assistance. Saturday, 3-hour bar crawl and a pool tournament. Sunday, tagged in a photo hoisting a German shepherd onto her lap during a park picnic. It was all dated, labeled, cross-referenced, kind of thing no doctor's note could outmaneuver. Camille skimmed through it and gave a low whistle. Holy hell, she really thought no one was paying attention. But here's the part Melissa didn't anticipate. She got cocky. That's the thing about manipulators who win too often. They forget that patterns leave trails. And she was laying hers like breadcrumbs through a forest of HR violations. She began name-dropping past lawsuits in meetings. "That girl from my last job tried to document me too," she said once, loud enough for 3 desks to hear. Didn't end well for her. Lawyers loved tearing that apart. She said it with a giggle, like it was juicy office gossip. But the message was clear. She wanted people to know she was untouchable. I stayed quiet. Let her talk. She told someone in marketing that HR couldn't touch her without a lawsuit. She told our intern that she knew how to play the system. Made a joke during a team lunch. "Honestly, I should teach a masterclass in getting what you need without lifting a damn finger." She laughed. Everyone else smiled uneasily. I said nothing. Just sipped my Diet Coke and tapped a note into my phone under the table. She even started testing Camille. Asked for a second monitor for accessibility reasons. Filed a complaint about insufficient ergonomic desk chairs at a site she hadn't been to since onboarding. Claimed her back condition had gotten more aggressive and she might need to begin working fully remote indefinitely. Camille forwarded that one to me with the subject line, "She's poking the bear," and the bear finally stood up. 2 days later, Camille asked me to come in before work. Conference room 4C, neutral territory, closed blinds, no laptops. "We've got preliminary approval," she said, flipping a manila folder shut. "Corporate sending down internal compliance to do some discreet observation. Nothing major, just scheduled events, casual check-ins, attendance tracking. If we catch her violating restrictions while claiming accommodation, she didn't finish. Didn't need to. Melissa wouldn't know. That was the beauty of it. She thought she was still running the board, still 5 steps ahead while we played checkers. But she never realized we'd flipped the table and drawn a new one under it." Valence started the following Monday. Melissa didn't notice. Why would she? She was too busy asking for Friday off due to extreme pain flare-ups, then attending a colleague's birthday brunch on Saturday, where she uploaded 4 Instagram stories from a rooftop patio wearing stilettos and popping champagne like she just won The Bachelor. She even captioned one, "pain-free and fabulous clinking glasses screenshot." Saved. That week, I barely spoke. Didn't gloat. Didn't sigh. Didn't tell a soul. I just waited. Because when someone builds a throne out of lies, all you have to do is take away the cushion and let the splinters do the rest. When the announcement dropped in the team channel, excited to share that Melissa will be leading our new cross-functional rollout initiative, I didn't blink. Didn't type a single fake congrats emoji. Didn't even flinch. Inside, my chest was a microwave full of forks. That was my project. I pitched it in January, outlined it, drafted the strategy doc, named the damn folder. But somehow, while I was busy building spreadsheets of her lies and whispering to HR in back hallways, she'd been schmoozing just loud enough to make herself the obvious choice. "She's got great vision," our director said. "Really understands internal alignment." Yeah, because she stole mine, mirrored it, and dressed it up in her signature perfume of vague buzzwords and fake vulnerability. Like clockwork, she used her new lead title to duck anything resembling actual labor. Told the operations team she couldn't commit to site testing due to medical limitations. Passed the fieldwork to me, of course. Said she needed desk time to ideate. I kept my tone even, my smile tight, my folders open. Because what Melissa didn't know was that, while she was posting wins, HR was watching every move like it was a football replay with the slow-mo dial cranked to 10. Then she made the mistake. Thursday, 1:07 p.m., middle of workday, peak hours. I was elbow deep in client logistics when I got a ping from Camille, "Check her Insta, Just now, I opened it. There it was. A boomerang of Melissa at Lucky's pool and tap. Cue stick in hand, grinning like a prom queen. Caption, work hard. A harder pool 8-ball # lunch break legends except. She wasn't on lunch, and she wasn't scheduled for remote work. And then came the kicker. She tagged 2 coworkers, neither of whom were in the building. Within 5 minutes, HR had the screenshot in their internal folder. Within 15, Camille had logged the timestamp against her timecard submission, claimed she was actively managing deliverables during that window. I stared at the photo, way she cocked her hip, the smug little squint of her eyes like she'd already won, and something shifted, not joy, not triumph, stillness. The kind of stillness you feel in the eye of a hurricane, where for one terrifying moment, everything is quiet. That night, I slept 8 hours straight for the first time in months. No dreams, no clenched jaw, no ghost of her voice narrating my inbox. She thought she'd won. But now we weren't playing by her rules. She was dancing in the spotlight, and the camera had already zoomed in. The email went out at 9:13 a.m. sharp. Subject line, Policy Compliance Review, Medical Accommodations. The kind of generic title that makes everyone's stomach flip and immediately hit mark as unread. Inside, a polite but direct note from HR. Surprise file audits. All active accommodation requests would be reviewed by end of week. No exceptions. Melissa didn't reply. He didn't show up either. Instead, she sent a vague out-of-office message through Slack. Out sick, back soon. Please respect my privacy during this difficult flare-up. Flare-up, huh? Funny timing. She just posted a group selfie 48 hours prior, tight black dress, full face of makeup, dancing behind a margarita fountain at Havana Lounge. That image was still floating around the office in whispers and DMs. Everyone had seen it. Everyone just hadn't said anything. Not until now. By lunch, I could feel the shift in the air. People weren't just ignoring Melissa's absence. They were avoiding eye contact with her name entirely, like saying it might summon a lawsuit. Then, around 2 p.m., it happened. Jake, the kind of coworker who usually stays out of everything unless there's free pizza involved, knocked on Camille's door and closed it behind him. 10 minutes later, she pinged me. Jake just came forward, that he saw Melissa salsa dancing last Saturday. I thought she couldn't stand, he told me. Camille added a smiley face, not a friendly one. The kind that says, that was the crack we needed. Legal was looped in before COB, not publicly, not with fanfare. But I saw the signs, 2 suits from corporate compliance roaming around without name badges, whispering in the hallway near HR's glass-walled meeting room. Camille walked past me once and gave the briefest nod, her eyes sharper than usual. I didn't gloat, didn't tell anyone, didn't forward the Insta photos or drop hints in Slack, because this wasn't a victory lap, it was the moment before the trap door opened. That night, Melissa's name didn't show up on the schedule, not for the rest of the week. Someone else was assigned to the client check-ins. Camille confirmed it later in a whisper when we passed in the stairwell. Putting it all together, just hang tight. I nodded and kept walking. I wanted to scream, dance. Grab that smug photo from Havana and staple it to every damn cubicle with a note that said, she's not sick, she's sloppy. But I didn't. I just opened my laptop and typed up my deliverables like nothing had changed. Because to her, nothing had. But to us, everything had. She walked in smiling. Melissa, ever the actress, trotted through the HR hallway that morning like it was a Vogue runway, pale blue blazer, delicate heels, hair curled in practiced waves. Her tote bag bounced off her hip like it had secrets in it, and her face, stone-cold confidence. She didn't knock, just pushed open the glass door to conference room B and disappeared inside. Camille didn't even look up from her desk. She just typed something slowly, then clicked a folder shut. I wasn't invited to the meeting. It was by design. Legal wanted a clean process, no claims of emotional intimidation or retaliation from toxic coworkers. They knew Melissa's playbook. They'd highlighted it in yellow, so I waited. 43 minutes later, Camille texted me. It's done. You want to hear how it went? I walked into her office with my coffee and shut the door. Camille leaned back, expression unreadable. She tried to cry, she said flatly. Then she opened her drawer, pulled out a printout. Melissa's doctor's note from last month. Same format, same wording. A familiar loop of buzzwords: severe lumbar instability, functional standing intolerance, limited vertical activity. Camille dropped another sheet beside it, a full-color photo of Melissa at the pool hall. Cue in one hand, beer in the other. Mid-laugh, no limp, no brace, heels glinting under fluorescent lights. Beside that, a calendar printout. the time off request for that exact date, her medical excuse. Finally, the company's disability accommodation policy. Section 14.3, misrepresentation and fraud. Highlighted. She started with the usual, Camille said, talked about episodic pain, claimed she was having a good day, said it was a coincidence. I raised an eyebrow. Then she said, and I quote, that photo doesn't prove anything. I only stood for a few minutes at a time. Camille smirked, so we showed her the video, one where she dances for 4 straight minutes without a break, with a man in cargo shorts. I couldn't help it, I snorted. She went quiet, Camille continued, then started blaming her doctor, said he might have overexaggerated the language, said she didn't ask for all those restrictions, he just added them for safety. And then, I asked. Camille leaned forward, voice low. Then legal slid her the clause. She tapped the fraud section with one perfectly manicured nail, outlined the policy breach, informed her that disability fraud, especially involving falsified work limitations and insurance documentation, could trigger external investigation. Which, by the way, they were very ready to initiate. I swallowed. She still didn't get it, did she? Oh no, Camille said. She actually tried bargaining. I blinked. With legal? Yup. Asked if she could retract her accommodation forms voluntarily, that she'd be happy to come back to the office full-time. Swore she'd carry boxes, attend events, whatever was needed. I stared at her. And Camille's voice turned ice cold. We told her this wasn't about accommodation preferences. It was about fraud. She took a breath, then I handed her the form. I didn't have to ask what it said. I'd seen that form once before. Voluntary termination. A tidy exit for messy people. Camille's gaze didn't waver. I looked her in the eye and said, you can sign this now, or we send this entire packet, including your time cards, your social media, and the flagged documentation, to the insurance investigators. Today. A long silence passed between us. I finally spoke. What'd she do? Camille leaned back, cracked her knuckles, and smiled without humor. She signed. By 1:47 p.m., her desk was stripped bare. No send-off. No email blast. Oh, thank you all for the memories post in the company Slack with a picture of her holding a mug and pretending to be human. Just silence, like someone had unplugged her from the system mid-sentence. The rolling chair sat crooked. The desk plant was gone. The framed quote she'd brought in, she believed she could, so she did, lay face down in the trash bin with a cracked corner and a lipstick smudge on the glass. By 2:05, someone from IT walked in with a cardboard box and a wipe-down kit. By 3 o'clock, her name vanished from every calendar. Her access was revoked. The company group chat stuttered with a few passive-aggressive gifs and emojis that meant nothing on the surface, but everything to the people who knew. Nobody said her name. That was the new rule. Nobody wanted to risk sounding celebratory or bitter or wrong. Just silence. Relief, quiet as a closed door. An hour later, got the email. Subject, thank you, sender. Internal HR compliance, just one line. Thank you for helping us protect the integrity of the workplace. No exclamation point, no flowers, just wait, recognition, that I wasn't crazy, that I wasn't overreacting, that 2 years of whispered sabotage, gaslit silence, and career whiplash wasn't a character flaw, it was a slow poison I finally survived. I didn't reply. I just flagged it, saved it, stared at it until the edges of my vision stopped trembling. The office returned to normal quickly. Too quickly, maybe. Her absence left a vacuum, but no one wanted to fill it. The meetings were shorter. Slack threads felt lighter. People who hadn't looked me in the eye in weeks suddenly found their voices again. My project was handed back to me quietly like a dog returning a stolen sock. No apology, just returned. And me? I didn't say a word. I didn't gloat, didn't print out her accommodation form and tape it to the break room fridge like my petty soul fantasized about every morning. I just did my work. On Friday afternoon, while scrolling the internal job board out of boredom, I saw it. Internal posting, associate lead, field strategy, backfill position, department. Jennifer's old department, role type. Full-time, status, urgent hire. I stared at the screen. Melissa's job. The one she'd slithered into, the one she'd bullied her way through. The title she'd clutched like armor while she climbed over people like they were scaffolding. It was wide open. But I didn't apply. Not because I couldn't get it. Because I didn't need to. I already had what she never could, my reputation intact, my dignity recovered, and every ounce of my damn voice back in my own hands. I closed the tab, shut down my laptop, walked out into the parking lot where the wind didn't feel like it had knives in it anymore, and I drove home, not victorious, free. appreciate you sticking around, you wise old rebels. Smash that subscribe button, or this fossil might just cause another epic fiasco.